Howdy folks, my name is Chef Cicely and I'm joining you today at the Divine Cafe in the Springs Preserve in the great city of Las Vegas. So what we're making today is a vegetarian chili dish. The way I'm going to start out this dish is, as you can see, I have a variety of fresh vegetables out, chopped all and ready to go. I have some white onions, I have some green bell peppers chopped, I have red bell peppers, and I have yellow bell peppers. Now you might wonder, why would I have 3 different types of the same ingredient when it seems like the only difference is color? Well, that's really not true. They actually vary in flavor, but I will say that the color is extremely important, because what do we eat with first? Well, we eat with our eyes when we feast on it when it lays on the table. I also have some beans. They're soaked and ready to go. And then I also have some tomatoes, and these were canned tomatoes because it's the off season, and buying fresh tomatoes in the off season really almost takes away from the flavor because they weren't ripe when they were picked. If I get canned tomatoes and puree them in a food processor or pulse it in a blender, we get that wonderful flavor, that vibrance, and that aromaticity that really adds to our chili, because we also smell it first, and that really warms up our palate. The other thing that makes our chili really good is spices. So what I have is some onion powder, some garlic powder, some cumin, and also some coriander mix, which will give it that very rich southwestern feel, and then also some smoked paprika. So we've moved everything over to the cook station where we're actually going to begin to start putting everything together. I've got 2 pans up here that I'm going to be working with to start. I'm going to start by putting some canola oil in there, and you'll notice I don't use olive oil in the chili. It's because I don't want to add that greenness necessarily to my flavor. Nice smoky spot off the bat. Canola oil actually has a higher smoke point, so you can cook at a higher temperature with it. I'm going to get these onions started and sweating, and I'm going to drop this down just a little bit. Still keep a nice hot pan, and let some of the moisture kind of work off of those onions. Then what I'm going to do in this small, just a fry pan, I'm going to start toasting my spices. It's dry. I'm not going to put any oil in here. I'm going to take the cumin and the coriander, which I had already mixed, and the smoked paprika. And then there's a couple bit of cakes, a little bit of balls in the spices, so I'm just going to make sure those are all nicely broken down. And I'm just going to let this sit dry over nice low heat so that it'll continue to cook the spices, toast them off, and it's going to add a different depth, a different texture of the flavor. These onions are looking awesome, so I'm going to go ahead and add in my peppers. I like to add the green ones first. They tend to me to have the most pungent smell, so I'm going to start off with those ones so that they can cook off a bit of the greenness so we get more of the sweetness like the red peppers. And actually, a red pepper is really just a ripe green pepper, believe it or not. Hence why a green pepper would have a green flavor. It's not ripe yet. Next, I'm going to go to the yellow. Mix all those in. Take these spices, kind of mix them up a little bit, make sure that nothing's getting over toasted over the other ones. And it's really waking up the flavor. I can really smell a nice toasty, whole, satisfying dish. At home, this would wake up my whole house. Then I'm going to start with the beans. You can use soaked or canned. Either one, just depends on how much time you have. Mix all those in. And because beans are primarily a starch, they're lignans, they can take quite a bit of salt. I'm not a crazy salt person, but the beans will absorb some of the flavor of the peppers and the onions unless I add just a little bit during the cooking process. Stir this up, let everything get nice and warm. These spices are looking awesome. I don't want them changing color or anything. They're just smelling to the point that I want them to, so I'm going to say they're going done. Dump them right in. Stir this up again. And now I want to add some moisture so that it'll all continue to come together, and that is where I dump in my canned tomatoes. And when I look in my pot right now, one of the things that I notice is that, gosh, this looks thick. Doesn't quite look like a soup or anything. But that is actually okay, because as this continues to simmer, those onions, those peppers, those beans are all going to continue to cook down, and what's going to come off of them is their water content. So I'm going to let the moisture of the vegetables actually simmer out and loosen up my chili so that it becomes more like a soup instead of what looks like now more of a stock. So I'm going to set this one aside and let it simmer for a while. Magically, I have another one done right over here. And what we see now when I look into the pot is a nice homogeneous color, a bright red, and it smells just awesome. Our chili is done. All we have to do is serve and eat. So one of the things that I notice about this chili first is how wonderful it smells, and also how rich and vibrant the color is. It's just lovely. And I have all of these garnishes off on the side to even kick it up an additional notch with some chives. Who doesn't love cheese on their chili? And also a personal favorite, some creme fraiche, which is just a European style of sour cream that's a little bit richer, a little bit thicker, and a little bit sweeter. I want a little bit more green. And here you have it, folks. This has been a pleasurable cooking experience with you, making vegetarian chili here at the Divine Cafe in the Springs Preserve. I hope you enjoy the rest of winter. And I'm Chef Cicely, and I hope to see you here.